Hill resigned, and this is, you know, we haven't spent too much time on this. I mean, there's a quality of this that is, and my understanding is that every time you get a wave of change in the House, where you get about, you know, you bring in tens upon tens of new Congress people, there's inevitably a couple of scandals. And Katie Hill ran in a purple district in California. She won. She apparently was in the midst of a divorce. There was an allegation that she had an affair, or not an affair, a sexual relationship with a member of her congressional staff. Now that is,
get it, girl.
That is against House rules for obvious reasons. She denied that allegation. However, she did admit to having a relationship with a campaign staffer. Now that is not against the House rules. It can come up in the context of an ethics investigation and could lead to ethics censure, whatnot. But what seems to have happened was that her estranged husband basically was shopping around a lot of pictures that were taken of her that she was unaware of, and that there were other questions that I think we don't know what the reality is behind it. But the bottom line is, she decided to resign. And my understanding is that nothing she actually did was in any way worse, or in some respects even comparable to what goes on every day in Congress. But usually it's men who are engaging in, relationships with campaign staffers, or male candidates, I should say, or congressmen, with campaign staffers or people in their office, or, some type of, I don't know. I mean, is really polyamory really that scandalous anymore? But I mean, those type of situations. And she makes that point in her farewell speech. I mean, it was a pretty good one. She went through, she took responsibility for what happened, to the extent that anything happened. She apologized to all of the stakeholders who helped her campaign, who she was representing, who maybe looked up to her. And then she made this point, which I think is an important point to make, is at one point we're going to have to reckon with the fact that, like, there is no doubt that that there is some double standards here. Now, I know that there were pictures of Anthony Weiner that ended up causing his resignation. But let's remember that he was sending his own, I don't know if they were full-on, dick pics, but maybe they were. I didn't really dive too deep into those. Didn't have that much interest. But these were actions that he was taking that were
pretty stupid.
Were stupid, and they were on. He was doing this. As far as we know, everyone involved in this situation were consenting adults. And she wasn't cheating on her husband. This was apparently part of the arrangement that they had. And to the extent that, when they were married. And she didn't authorize the release of these pictures. She didn't even know, in certain circumstances, apparently, that they were even taken. And so I don't know that it's an apples to apples comparison, but here she is on the floor of the House announcing her resignation.
To drive clicks and expand their audience by distributing intimate photos of me taken without my knowledge, let alone my consent, for the sexual entertainment of millions. I'm leaving because of a misogynistic culture that gleefully consumed my naked pictures, capitalized on my sexuality, and enabled my abusive ex to continue that abuse, this time with the entire country watching. I am leaving because of the thousands of vile, threatening emails, calls, and texts that made me fear for my life and the lives of the people that I care about. Today is the first time I've left my apartment since the photos, taken without my consent, were released, and I'm scared. I'm leaving because for the sake of my community, my staff, my family, and myself, I can't allow this to continue. Because I've been told that people were angry when I stood strong after the first article was posted, and that they had hundreds more photos and text messages that they would release bit by bit until they broke me down to nothing, while they used my faults and my past to distract from the things that matter most. I'm leaving because there is only one investigation that deserves the attention of this country, and that's the one that we voted on today. Today, I ask you all to stand with me and commit to creating a future where this no longer happens to women and girls. Yes, I'm stepping down, but I refuse to let this experience scare off other women who dare to take risks, who dare to step into this light, who dare to be powerful. It might feel like they won in the short term, but they can't in the long term. We cannot let them. The way to overcome this setback is for women to keep showing up, to keep running for office, to keep stepping up as leaders, because the more we show up, the less power they have. I'm leaving, but we have men who have been credibly accused of intentional acts of sexual violence and remain in boardrooms, on the Supreme Court, in this very body, and worst of all, in the Oval Office.
There you go.
Wow.
That's accurate.
Isn't that a crime? Revenge porn and blackmail?
Well, I think yes. I mean, I think I think she's going to at the very least be able to get to sue, and I think in California it's also a criminal violation, and I think the ex-husband is going to have some legal difficulties going forward. Would be my guess, but nevertheless, there is. Our society is, look, think of the people in Congress right now, Mark Sanford, who just basically went on a vacation without telling anybody because he wanted to cheat on his wife. David Vitter, who was found to be a diaper, guy who liked diaper play with his prostitutes.
Michael just yelled from the other room.
Well,
he's horrified.
There have been men who have been able to stay within their positions. Obviously, the president. There are
a former president.
There are 40 some odd women who have made credible claims that the sitting president of the United States sexually assaulted them, which of course is far worse than taking a naked picture where you're brushing the hair of your girlfriend. He is still
Thanks
in
for
office.
the flag, Jeffrey, too, by the way.
You shouldn't sleep with anyone who works for you, but there's an easy solution to that, and that's that all Congress people should get paid poly leave to go off and find people who don't work for them.
Well, she wasn't working for anybody. I mean, she was not, as far as we know, she was not having sex with anybody who worked for her in Congress.
Oh, okay. I thought
it was campaign staffer, but not in Congress.
Well, same diff. She's a workaholic.
Well, but I'm saying prior to her being a congresswoman.
Yeah, it's still a bad look.
It's not something that I think people should do, but I would imagine in the context of a campaign that happens quite often. And
I don't care as long as there's no diaper play. You can have sex with your staffer, whatever.
I honestly think
just don't be disgusting.
I honestly think that in the context of like a campaign, if the two people are sort of like similar age in the context of an endeavor that is sort of a limited run type of thing.
You're writing a screenplay in your head right now.
Like in the passion of the trail and the shared drive of the cause.
I'm leaving myself some wiggle room for my run against Schumer. Yeah. That's all it is.
That's exactly what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
I'm just.
Don't you hate Chuck so much?
Yes.
Cynthia Goldbaum.
What? Why do you have to why do you have to cap it with that? It's just like it's
because it's sort of like at this point it's kind of the intentionally bad thing that adds a certain charm to it.
We just got an IM. I'm not taking any calls today, folks. We're just doing IMs. And Steph from Chicago says, easy on the kink shaming, Michael. First they came for the diaper players.
Okay, and then they can come for all the other disgusting ones. I don't care.
Sam's Tinder profile. Famous last words, folks.